For the last 8 or 9 years, I've had the privilege of interviewing over 100 different authors, celebrities, coaches throughout the country, and I've shared the stage with some big names like Mark Victor Hansen and so forth, and I just learned a lot through this process of interviewing. And when DonnaLyn was available today in her busiest schedule, I'm like, DonnaLyn, let's change things a little bit. Let's do a Q&A kind of style and present information in a slightly different way. And so I've kind of got a bunch of questions that I'm going to ask DonnaLyn, and we'll just make it very organic in terms of just her sharing. She's had an incredible journey to date, and I feel that there are going to be there's things that we can kind of all benefit from. And so DonnaLyn, I want to start off from a place of childhood, or many years back, for at least for me, your fondest childhood memories.
My fondest childhood memories would include playing with dogs, riding horses, and playing ball with a lot of the guys in the neighborhood. So I was a softball player, and I didn't know it at the time, but I do a lot of coaching with executive women, and I share with them sisterhood is not enough. And it's really grounded in this notion that while being bonded with other female entrepreneurs and other female leaders is important, that it's not enough. You have to learn how to play with everybody on both sides of the aisle. So I was very used to always playing ball with the guys or competing in high school with the men. And so I think that is something that's important for maybe some of the people in the audience today that have limited time and decide I only want to network here, or I only want to network with these people. And my message that's informed by childhood memories is throw your net a little wider. Salim talked about being focused in your business, but be wide in the net that you throw with the relationships that you develop with people. And I think most of you know that I am doing that by experience because I'm surrounded by athletes like Manolo, because I love to be active and outdoors. Manolo is one of my friends in outdoor adventuring. Ted Friedley and I developed Kick Cancer Overboard. So in business and in life and in leisure, I've surrounded myself with both sides of the gender aisle, and I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. So you were born and raised in
Red Bank.
Oh, really?
Red Bank.
Wow.
I've been here my whole life.
Huh.
Yes. Yeah.
College?
College, Albright College in Reading, Pennsylvania. I went to Red Bank Catholic High School, and I earned an academic scholarship, and so my ride was taken care of, much to my father's happiness. He had 2 other kids that he had finance educations for. But Albright College in Reading, Pennsylvania, and then Monmouth University for my first master's degree.
Good student?
Excellent student, yes, excellent student, highly motivated, and I was raised to appreciate and respect the fact that my parents were working very hard to afford me the opportunity to be there. So
that's what motivated you?
That's what motivated me, because I watched them work very hard to be able to afford the kids the opportunities that we had.
Got it.
We didn't have a lot, but we had enough, and education was a priority.
Got it. Siblings?
I have a brother and a sister. My brother's a partner in a very large accounting firm, and my sister is a teacher in Pennsylvania. My brother's just moved back to Monmouth County.
So you've been in business did you take the traditional route of college, corporate America, and then entrepreneurship?
Well, so I started with the corporate path because I got a fixed income analyst job. Manolo and I talk about that a little bit as well. On Wall Street after an IBM internship. So I'd always been in sales, but I thought I wanted finance because I was getting my MBA. And then I got to Wall Street and realized that there was a lot of monkey business going on there. And the 5-hour commute with the monkey business had me thinking, you probably want to do something a little bit different that you have more control over. And then by 25, I was in a spot where I said, okay, I'm going to hang out a shingle, and we're going to start knocking on doors, and we're going to start our insurance agencies. And so that's how that happened organically. So plan A became plan B.
Got it.
Mm.
Yeah. Before we go into biggest lessons learned in entrepreneurship, you were diagnosed with cancer how many years back?
So I was 40. I just run the Honolulu Marathon and was feeling fabulous and fit and strong, and was teaching yoga in the Caribbean after the Honolulu Marathon on vacation, and started to develop right flank pain that started to roll into my back, and I couldn't move. And the next thing you know, the doctors in the white coats are walking in saying you have a baseball-sized tumor in your retroperitoneum, which is in your back between your kidneys. And you're probably not going to live much longer because this is a precarious place for a tumor that's lodged up against your inferior vena cava. Without getting too technical, that returns the deoxygenated blood up to the lungs and the heart. And they said, there's not a surgeon that's going to open you up and cut this beast out of your back. And I said, okay, well, we'll see. So I threw an email out, and then I remember the laptop was brand new. The subject line was, got a tumor, need a team. So I was asking for help in a nanosecond from my rich network of friends and family. And I said, who knows a surgeon that's a cutting cowboy that can help me with this precarious tumor in my back? And I got the same answer from 3 different parts of the country: Pittsburgh, Jacksonville, Florida, and New Jersey. 3 different people, 3 different areas of life, the same surgeon they recommended to me at New York Presbyterian Cornell. So the message is, keep throwing your net out there, keep developing your contacts. Not that you're ever going to get a tumor and need to ask them for a team referral, but there might be another time in your life where you're experiencing a financial reversal or a relationship shift, a career trajectory redirect, and you're going to need the help of people around you. So knowing how to ask for help and having a network that's there for you before you need it.
When you were diagnosed with cancer, what was your initial reaction? Victim, or I'm gonna crush it?
I think I was actually in shock because it was so hard for me to cerebrally get my mind around it. I was still thinking rationally that healthy people don't get cancer. We all know that that's not the case now. So I was probably in shock, which is why my first reaction was I called my colleague who was running the American Cancer Society, and I said, I need a bald bikers club. I'm going to lose all my hair, I'm going to be radiated, and I'm going to try to survive a 10-hour kidney organ transplant surgery. So my hair was growing back from the chemotherapy. I had just come back from Jacksonville, Florida. I have a college roommate down there. We did the Jacksonville half marathon together. And this was after a year of surgical rehab, radiation, and CyberKnife and chemotherapy. And when I walked in the door, my husband said, sit down. I've just been diagnosed with stage 3 incurable multiple myeloma, which is an aggressive blood cancer. And so I looked at him and I said, okay, I'm not even through managing and synthesizing what I just went through. How am I going to show up for you? And he said, we're going to figure this out together. And that's what we did. So we spent our 40s fighting for our lives, meeting with a lot of doctors and living in hospitals, from Arkansas, which has a world-class facility for blood cancer patients, in New York and New Jersey. So that was our triangle of health advocacy for 10 years. And I've had a lot of setbacks. It's actually not the cancer. I was very blessed because the cancer didn't metastasize once they got the tumor out of my back successfully. But I've had a lot of setbacks because of the radiation damage. So I have definitely, with my husband, been on a wild roller coaster ride, a lot of near-death experiences, gram-negative bacterial infections, major GI bleeds. And I always go in with this, people say, how do you fight cancer? Well, you know what? You learn how to reframe your fortune, if I could. Because that's the only way you can embrace what's happening to you at the time. It has to be around, how do I find the goodness in this? How do I help someone else? And at the end of the day, honestly, through the deep work that we're doing with Kick Cancer Overboard, my perspective has changed. Hey, I got to 55. We are serving children with brain cancer there too. So, the whole perspective piece has been really informing for Tom and I now, and we're just feeling grateful that we've been able to do something positive in a quiet way for other people.
Wow, amazing.
Can I add something to this? Because I was kind of sort of there with DonnaLyn.
Yeah.
You know, she got diagnosed and her husband too, and also to add, they never lost their sense of humor. Because I still remember when DonnaLyn had different wigs, and her husband Tom never knew if she was going to be a redhead, a brunette, or a blonde.
And that was a good
So
thing.
keep that up. Exactly. That was a good thing.
That was a good thing. Thanks, Teddy. Yeah. You know, the longer you live, the more you realize we've all been served up some pretty incredible things as actively aging adults. It all shows up in different ways, and it's all a crisis that we don't think at the beginning we can get through. And we all have different coping techniques. But I really think at the end of the day that if we do have a broad network of loving people in our lives, business colleagues, fitness friends, family, whether that's chosen family or birth origin family members, we can get through it because we're all going through something. So, you know, our story might sound a little shocking because it is unique. It happened to us at the same time. My husband and I were both athletes. We were both really healthy. But at the end of the day, it just gave us a platform to talk about it and then help other people. You know, it's not just kick cancer overboard. I started yoga on the lake every Saturday for the last 7 years. Our backyard is open for people that want to do yoga. I started DLG Consulting. I've been on the podium at national and international conferences, keynoting in business conferences and industry forums from California to Cornell, because my story was the hook that people wanted to hear. Oh my gosh, how did you get through that? We have people in the insurance industry. We have people in the auditing industry because my vertical is insurance. We have people in the underwriting, in the claims management arena. They all think that they can't get through X. This story is unbelievable. You own insurance agencies. You've been carrying a business and keeping it going with the dual cancer crisis. We want you to keynote at our conference. So all of a sudden, I'm a motivational speaker at all these financial services industries. That really wasn't on my radar when I was biking through chemotherapy. But I was open and kept a creative and collaborative heart. And every time I went to a conference for my CE credits, people would say to me, I heard your story. I saw you on this. I saw you interviewed here. I saw this YouTube video. You know, will you come to our conference? And then that funneled down to executive coaching and then seminars and corporations. I just got off the phone with Marsh McLennan, big insurance global company. They want me to come in and train on talent agility, right? Because we're all managing chaos. So they want to know, how do you manage chaos? And I give them a framework and we go through it step by step. So you never know what you're going through and how that's going to segue into something more important for other people through your crisis.
What are the things that hold someone back?
Well, a fear, right? Bill Atkins says all the time, or it's your mantra, right? False evidence appearing real is the acronym.
Fear.
Fear is huge for so many people. And so, you know, when I go into a coaching or a consulting assignment, fear bubbles up. You know, originally it might be, well, they don't get along with their teammates, or they have some cultural competency issues, or, you know, they're not emotionally intelligent, or they've got social anxiety issues. But really at the core, they're either fearful of something or they're not educated around keeping up with what's trending. So that is a huge impediment to people's development in their professional life, because they're not going to get promoted. They're not going to be called upon for extra activities. They're less likely to be called in to spearhead another assignment because they haven't continued to grow on a pace that's required today to be a leader in the world. You know, we're all global citizens now. So if you're not familiar with working with different cultures and understanding some cultural competencies, that's a big impediment to your development. So
two things: fear
yeah,
and
lack of
growth.
yes.
Got it. Yeah, totally. I can resonate with both.
Right? I'm sure you can. In corporate training and leadership development, we're working with all cultures about blowing through all of those ridiculous stereotypes that have held us all back. My life is richer because I've got friends in the corporate space and personally that come from all over the world. Right?
Absolutely.
So,
you have international students. You
So,
host them as, what is the program?
Right. So as an adjunct at Brookdale, I've been in touch with the international director for 20 years on and off. And my husband and I had an opportunity over 10 years ago, while we were going through our cancer journey, to host foreign exchange college students from around the world. So my husband and I have been hosting for about over a decade, probably 12 years, but we've had kids long term, between 2 years and 5 years, living with us from Beijing, Dubai, Egypt. We just had a young man live with us for 2 years from Brazil. We had a young man from Bahamas. We've had women from Estonia. Had a young man from, not Lithuania, Latvia, Riga, Latvia. So, our neighbors all ask us to be invited for Thanksgiving because they know they're coming to the United Nations. And they're meeting extraordinary people from all different backgrounds. I have a young woman that I'm looking forward to teaching today from Ghana. She just educated me about waist beads. What do you know about waist beads? Anybody? It's part of their culture that identifies them with their tribe from a heredity point of view. It helps them keep their waistline intact because if they gain weight, the bead is tighter around their waist. And the beads are created by their grandmothers invariably as a connecting familial piece that keeps them bonded. So she just lost her grandmother, but her grandmother is always with her on her waist through her beads. And I said, do you wear 1 strand, 2 strands, 5 strands? And she said, it really depends. It's part of the family tradition. But, if I was not teaching at Brookdale in a place that celebrates global citizenry, if I wasn't training in corporations that are hiring and employing people from all over the world, I wouldn't have this rich experiential life to share with you this morning.
Awesome. This is really good.
Is it helping? I mean, are you learning? So I will share with you some just one more funny story because our guy from Dubai, our Dubai guy, his name is Kareem, and he's Egyptian, and I did Ramadan with him for 3 days. He's my Muslim bud. I was raised as a Christian, and I said, how do you do this? You don't eat, you don't drink during the day, you have pizza at midnight. My husband was very happy about that. But, how do you do this? And they go to work and they don't drink anything, and you don't eat anything, right? How do you do that for lengthy periods of time and still concentrate? He's a brilliant numbers guy. He works for, it's not Marsh & McLennan, it's another big financial service firm. I'm just pulling a blank, up in Jersey City. And he just moved back in for 3 months because we're trying to give him a head start in life. He was responsible for his brother and sister coming to this country. He was the man of the household at 17. Imagine that. Going to school full-time, working full-time, just landed this great career path job in Jersey City, got a great promotion because he's a wonderful worker and is asking for opportunities, but he still needs help. So I said to my husband, we've got an extra bedroom. Let's do this. And so the beauty is, who do you think's getting the benefits from being allegedly generous? We are, because he's my technology team.
Yeah.
So every time I need to do something related to my website, related to a PowerPoint, he knocks it out in 2 minutes instead of me sitting there trying to get it done in 15 minutes. So you may not think that there's a reciprocal opportunity, but we talk about reverse mentoring in the corporate space. I've got a team of kids that are 20. They're much smarter than I am, but I'm more connected than they are. So I help them get internships. I help them get jobs. I encourage them when they get a little down and discouraged about how hard it is working in the real world. They had no idea what it was going to be like until they got there. So we're helping one another, and that's the beauty of still being alive.
Awesome. So I've got several more questions. We've got about 5 more
Sure.
minutes. What's your ritual, your success ritual, morning, afternoon, evening, before you go to, at night
Okay,
before you go to bed?
So this is what I aspire to. It happens most days, but I have learned, because I'm aging and my body's changing, that the first thing I do is I check in with myself. So I don't just muscle through life anymore. I used to do that a lot. And I think maybe that contributed to part of me being run down and sick by 40, who knows? We don't know. I don't go there. I live here and forward, not back, reminiscing or ruminating. So I get up, I check in, I thank God for a pain-free body, and then I drink water and I move my body, because the way that I am energized in the morning is by movement, meditation, and meaningful aligning with how I'm feeling. Some days I don't feel good. Some days I physically can't move because of some of the collateral damage from some of the treatments. And when I have those days, I stay in bed for as long as I need before I can start to move. I don't beat my body up. I don't muscle through. I'm fortunate. I predominantly work from home and from my cell phone. We all have that advantage of working virtually now. I'll put a client off. I have a relationship with most of my clients now where I can say to them, can I put you in for tomorrow? Can we get together Friday? And they know not to ask if I'm not sharing, that I probably am not feeling on my A game. The benefit for them is that it frees them to do the same. So if they're not feeling good, or their kids are acting out, or they're just dealing with incredible pressures at work, they know that they have the freedom to do the same thing with me. We still always get the job done, Salim, but we're kinder to ourselves, we're gentler with one another, but continue to be very supportive and productive. So water and movement.
Your advice to an entrepreneur that wants to get to the next level,
Yeah.
feeling stuck.
Right, so I just had this conversation with a coaching client last week, and we touched upon it this morning before you and I started to talk. I'm a resource for a lot of people, helping them go deeper, faster, because I have a vast network. People call me all the time and say, I'd like to take my business to the next level. I'm really not sure which organization to join. What's your opinion? And I give it to them. So in that way, I recommend that people start asking folks that have been around longer, what kind of success have you had with this group? I want to start moving into this niche, or I want to explore this vertical. Who do you know? Where should I join? Where can I have a cup of coffee? What websites do you recommend? Are there chat forums that you've had success with? That kind of information, it can be forthcoming if you know to ask the right people for the information. So asking for help when you need it.
Awesome. Last question.
Yeah.
If you were to do it all over again, how would you do it?
In terms of the business or just life in general?
Life in general.
Probably nothing, because I have been blessed with so much richness as a result of our experiences, and I've learned how resilient I really am, even though the challenges have been incredibly overwhelming at times in my life. But again, when I talk about that, it gives permission to other people. We talked about that a little bit, right, yesterday, Steve. Going through these kinds of crises and challenges in life helps us help other people. So it's just not ever about just what my husband and I are going through as a team, or what I might be feeling any one particular day. It's realizing that everybody's going through it. I was at a fundraising breakfast on Tuesday, and the woman at the podium not only had survived her own cancer journey, but buried 2 young infant children, one of cancer, another one of complications, and her husband now has a brain tumor. So I mean, really, I have no issues. It's all good. And what we're able to do as collaborators and people that really understand one another's journey is we're able to help one another move the needle forward in what we're passionate about respectively. So she's helping me, I'm helping her, and we're helping our communities. So that's why we're still here, right? And I think so many of us are doing it. I know Manolo's doing it, Bill's doing it now in retirement. You know, I'm listening now to what he's doing, helping people build their businesses more effectively after owning his limo company. Ted Freebly does it every day with Kick Cancer Overboard without intimately knowing at the depths of many others what the cancer journey's like, right? We're all doing it. So it's all about helping one another, but never losing focus of that greater good, because we all have incredible talents and we have limited time. So waste no time.
Awesome. Wonderful. Thank you.